Okay, so a couple days ago, I don't remember what the context was. I know Clay and I were driving somewhere. We were going to get food. I think we were going to pick up pizza, actually. And we just ended up having a conversation about Smash Bros. Like, yeah, like, the Switch has been out for, what, like 7 years or so now. We're probably going to be getting a new system soon. When there's a new system, there's probably going to be a new Smash Bros. Kind of talking about it like that. Now, it is important to say, I do not have any contacts inside the industry. I haven't seen any leaks about there being a new Smash Bros. Or anything of that kind of sort. This is me just purely spitballing bullshit. However, what I will say is during that Pokemon Day Direct, where we had like, here's what all the new DLC and shit is going to be. Apparently there was a leak. I don't know if it was on 4chan or on Reddit, but it was someone who had like said like, all right, this is all the stuff that's going to be in it, and everything they said was correct. And on top of that, they had also put in there, in addition to all the correct information. I know this because I think they had said, I work at Game Freak, and I know we are working on like a texture pack for Scarlet and Violet for the new system. I don't remember exactly what they had said about the new system. I think they said it's like a Switch 2 or like it is a deluxe Switch, but we are working on the new system and it's essentially an improved Switch. So, with that in mind, and from what I understand, other people that like leak Pokemon stuff is like, yeah, everything they said was right, including the new Switch thing. And we're getting to that point where, again, it's been about 7 years. We're probably going to get something about a new console soon. And I think when it came to the E3 rumors about why Nintendo wasn't there, it's like, yeah, we have a really light second half. And we just want to focus on the new system. And that was something I had heard. I don't know if that was confirmed. So whether the new system comes out this year or early next year, like how the Switch came out in February, we're going to be getting one soon. And if there's a new Nintendo system, eventually there will be a new Super Smash Bros. My belief, again, this is without me having any kind of inside knowledge, this is just be like looking at the situation. I think we're going to get 2 Smash games on the next system. I think the first one we're going to get is Smash Ultimate Deluxe, or like Director's Cut. Essentially Smash Ultimate Edition, but I hate the way that sounds and rolls off the tongue. So I'm going to call it Deluxe. I think it is going to be, here is Smash Ultimate with all of its like day one shit. All of the DLC characters are now in the game. Whether everyone is unlocked from the start or not, I don't know, but it's like they are now just fully integrated in the game. They're probably, once you unlock them, you can get them in World of Light, or maybe like the original 8 characters plus the DLC are unlocked from the start, and then you unlock everyone else. But like all the DLC is there. All of the balance patches are there. All of the spirits and all the music that came with the DLC, all of that is there. This is the definitive version of the game. Excuse me. On top of that, there's a few extra goodies to entice you to get this new version of the game. So I think there would probably be some extra characters. I don't know if it would be here's like a full extra Fighters Pass that's going to be coming, if it's just going to be like, here's 2 to 3 characters plus a Fighters Pass, or if it's like, no, like there's a handful. I don't think it would be a lot. Personally, I think it would be like, here's a couple, like 2 to 3 first parties, and then a Fighter Pass to kind of build some hype. And then that is it for Ultimate. That's my personal prediction. And then later down the road, like a good maybe 3 years or so, here's the new game. Because it seems like Ultimate is essentially Sakurai's swan song. Now, I don't think he's going to like completely retire from games, but I don't think he's going to make another Smash game anymore. I think this is it. I think he's enjoying his retirement a lot. He's enjoying his rest. I think they probably will kind of coax him out of it and be like, all right, you've had like a couple years. Let's work on this, and then you're good. And then I think Smash is going to go to someone else. I don't know who it's going to go to, but I think someone else will take the reins, and it's going to essentially be a reboot. They're probably going to try to work a lot more, and like they're going to trim the roster down a lot. They're going to, I don't want to say refine the mechanics, but I feel like movesets are going to get changed. Probably some mechanics are going to get changed. It might try to be more like cater to the competitive side. It might not. I don't think they would make it and just like turn it into a 2D game, because I just don't think that would work for Smash. Excuse me, that's not what it is at its core, so I don't think it would work, but they could. But I think later down in the Switch 2's lifespan, here is the new Smash with different mechanics and a like heavily trimmed down roster. So they can really try to be like, all right, instead of having a bunch of characters and trying to balance them all, here's 20. And we try to really figure out how to make everyone work in our new system. And then down the road, we can add more characters. It probably would never get to the size of Ultimate. I don't expect there to be a lot of third-party characters left. Maybe someone like Sonic, because Sonic's been here for a while, and it seems that, yeah, Nintendo and Sega are on pretty good terms. Maybe Joker, because again, like if they're on good terms with Sega, he's owned by Sega. I think stuff like that. Probably not Sora. Poor bastard. Like, I think Sora's kind of a one and done. From what I understand, it was a lot of work getting Cloud back into Ultimate, so we might just kind of have to say goodbye to our Squeenix characters. But again, like, we'll see. But what I really want to speculate about, I don't really want to right now be like, all right, here's all the people that are probably going to get cut. Because they'd have to add some new characters soon. It's like, here's our roster of 20 characters. Quite a few of them are new, quite a few of them are old, so boy, we're going to lose a lot of old people. I just kind of want to say, so like if we were to get new characters, whether it's a full pass, whether it's kind of a hybrid, like here's some in the Ultimate Edition, here's some in the Deluxe Edition, plus some third parties and whatever. Kind of make like a short list. I was like, if I had to name 5 first-party characters I would want, or 5 third-party characters I would want, who would they be and why? And so I got a thought about it, and so I wrote down a list. Now, it is important for me to say, this is not me saying, these are the people I necessarily expect to get added, although quite a bit of that overlaps. At least when it comes to the first party. I think the first party, this is a pretty good idea of who we might see. But it's also, this is what I would personally want. It is not this is the kind of list that would make a lot of people happy. This is things that would cater to a lot of people. This is just shit for me. Because that's what makes speculation fun. What is the shit that I kind of expect, and what's the shit that will make me happy, so when it doesn't happen, I can be mad. Now, I will be honest. If we don't get an Ultimate Deluxe Edition, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be okay, if the Switch 2 is not backwards compatible with the Switch 1, I'm going to be mad just in general. I think most people would be, but assuming backwards compatibility is not a huge issue. I have all the DLC anyways. I don't want to have to start over in Ultimate. But, oh, excuse me. Sorry, my brain just stopped for a second. Let me recalibrate what I was trying to say. If what I'm expecting does not happen, that does not mean I will be upset. And I feel like that's also important to say. This is purely just a fun speculation. This is kind of what I'm thinking might happen. And if it does, this is what I like to see. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. We might just get one Smash game, because I think there is going to be one. And I think it's going to be like, all right, we're taking it in a different direction. I don't know if I'd say I'm excited for the new direction, but I am curious to see what it would eventually be. But if it does happen, these are some of the characters I'd like to see. So I will go through my first party characters first. These aren't necessarily in my order, like this is my number 1, this is my number 2, but going through, I don't know if you can hear that. One of the dogs is outside and she just doesn't shut up. Why are they like this? If you can't hear it, then I am just overreacting for no reason. If you can hear it, then I'm still overreacting, but at least you can maybe hear the reason. Number 1 for me is Marks. I love Kirby. I think Kirby games are incredibly fun. I think they're incredibly colorful. They're just full of so much life. And Marks is a really fun character. In Star Allies, he is fully playable. He's resized, too, and I was like, oh my god, I want him in Smash now so much. I think he actually has a fun moveset. Like, he's got the multiple jumps with his wings. Like, okay, so here's all this crazy aerial shit that he could do. He can, like, move around in the ball and, like, kick the ball at people as a projectile. Like, he would just be fun. And we need another Kirby rep. We have a good 3 with Kirby, Meta Knight, and DDD. But I love this series so much, I want it to have a 4th. I wanted to have a fifth. I have Bandana Waddle Dee on my list too. I have 2 Kirby characters in my top 5. Like I said, this is not me trying to say, this is what I'm expecting. We're going to get one from this series. I want to try to name a bunch of people from a bunch of different series to make a bunch of people happy. I want to make me happy. Marks would make me super happy. We'd get a new villain character. We'd get someone who's really fun and I just enjoy. Bandana Waddle Dee, I think to me, I think a lot of Kirby fans would agree. At this point, he's kind of become number 4. Kirby, DDD, Meta Knight, and then Bandana Waddle Dee. He's just kind of become part of the crew. And yeah, like his moveset, he has a spear, he has a lance. I don't think there's a lot of characters in Smash that have that. The only one that comes to mind immediately, okay, so there's Corrin, who's got, you know, the chainsaw sword, the dragon claw, and she kind of has some land stuff. Byleth. I call her Curtis, don't worry about it. But Curtis has the lance, but in addition, she also has the Sword of the Creator, the axe, and the bow. Is there anyone else that has a spear? I don't know. But so, at least in that way, it would be kind of a unique weapon. And again, like it's giving more representation to a series that maybe doesn't need it as much as some others. There's never been another F-Zero character. Zelda is in dire need of some extra representation. I mean, come on. Which, put a pin in that. But it's something that would make me really happy. So let's take that pin out. What I have right now, another name I have on there is Midna. What I have right next to it in parentheses is any new Zelda rep. We have not gotten a new Zelda character since Brawl. No one in Smash 4, no one in Ultimate, no one in Ultimate's DLC. And even then, who we got in Brawl was Toon Link, who was essentially young Link with a fresh coat of paint. I think the moveset is slightly different, but not by much. It was essentially, we took this character and just made him look different to reflect the times, and that was it. And then Ultimate, like, they actually tried to make the 3 Links play a little bit differently, which I do like, but it's 3 versions of the same character. And then with Zelda and Sheik, I mean, Sheik plays very differently. It's like, okay, so we have 3 versions of Link, 2 versions of Zelda, and 1 version of Ganon. Why don't we have someone else? Why don't we have someone like Midna, like her doing cool shadow shit? Maybe she is riding Wolf Link, so in a sense it's still another version of Link, but it's one that's really different. We could have Giram and all of like his weird crazy shit. We could have Skull Kid, who I know is a character people would really, really like. I couldn't super get into Majora's Mask and its mechanics. I liked Twilight Princess more, so I'm just going with Midna. But I would not be opposed to Skull Kid and just like his weird mage gimmicks. We could have like one of the champions from Breath of the Wild. That really wouldn't surprise me, especially with Breath of the Wild 2 coming, which I don't know if the champions are going to be in that game. I don't really know how it's going to work. I haven't played Breath of the Wild. I'm not super into open world games. I know I should at some point. I'm probably just going to watch Clay and or Jose play through Breath of the Wild 2. Like, I'll probably just play it vicariously, which clearly was not enough with Fire Emblem, but it might be enough with Zelda, we'll see. But I would just really, like, give us a new Zelda character. Because this series, like, I feel like it kind of needs it. Midna, again, would be my personal pick. But this is one where, like, I would be happy with pretty much anyone. Just don't be another version of Link, Zelda, or Ganon. Please. The next one I have is Mio and or Noah from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is one of those characters where I feel like a new Zelda character, I don't know if they would do it. Adding a Kirby character, I could see it, but they might not. I would fully expect if there was a new Smash game with some extra DLC or just like, here's a couple extra characters, they would add someone from XC3. It was a game that did really well. At least from what I understand, it did like really well. It was very well received. And then I didn't play it myself, but I watched Clay play pretty much the entire game. I loved it. I thought the story was great. I remember seeing a meme, and it was essentially like the first 90% of the story, oh my god, it's so good, it's so emotional. And then there's this like 5% of the story where like, what the fuck is going on? And then you get to the last 5 and we're like crying again because it's so good. It's like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. There's this one part near the end where you're just like, what are we doing? This is what it was building up to? Okay. I don't want to go into specific spoilers in a video like this, so I won't. I'm like, okay. Wow, this went from like a 10 out of 10 story to like a... I mean, it didn't like tank. I mean, like a 9, like an 8.5. Like, this isn't where I thought we were going. And it's just not as interesting. Like, to me, the game peaks at about like the 2/3 section. I'll say it's the end scene. It's, again, to like avoid spoilers, but you might know what I'm talking about. I think I cried when we got to that scene, like, or it was like the part right after. I was like, fuck, this is so good. Like, I'm not emotionally ready for this. And then the game is not as good, but still good, and then just kind of weird. And then it gets kind of good again by the end. I think the end game's a bit messy, but regardless, game overall is really good. Game was very well received. I would expect to see Noah and Mio. I don't know if they would say just Noah and him using Lucky 7, and then like the final smash is turning into the Mobius with with Mio, excuse me, completely different characters, completely different cat girls. Maybe it would be just Mio and her using like her weapons, and then her final smash is Noah, or maybe it is like a combination character, which would be cool. I don't know if they do the full like Myra and Pythra. I love that. I don't know if they actually do the Pyra and Mithra, where like you do the down B and you switch between them, or if it's like an ice climber where they're kind of tagging in and out, which sounds like is what they originally wanted to do. They wanted to have like Rex and Pyra and work like that, and maybe Pyra and Mithra still would have switched, but you'd have Rex as a partner, but it didn't quite work. Maybe they could get that to work with Noah and Mio. Maybe it would just be one character, or you just kind of pick with, like, they're both playable, but you can only pick one like from the start screen. I don't super know. But I expect something with that. And given how I genuinely liked 3, and I genuinely really liked these two characters, I would like to see them get represented in some way. So that's 4. So the last one I have out here on it is... I got really tongue-tied. The last first-party character I have on here is Meowscrata. I think that's how you pronounce it. Meowscrata, something like that. Masquerada. The cat magician from Scarlet and Violet. Our new grass starter. I would fully 100% expect a new Pokemon from a new game. Now, they didn't add a Pokemon from Sword and Shield because the newest game at the time was Sun and Moon. At least, okay, so when development was happening, the new game was Sun and Moon. And then for DLC, they didn't add anyone from Swish. But if it's going to be like, all right, a completely new game, or I guess it's not entirely a new game if it's a deluxe edition, but it's like, we're going to go ahead and add in some more new characters, I think they would probably try to be like, all right, let's now represent one of the games on the Switch. Because they didn't. I think they would choose to represent one of the games on the Switch. Let's represent the newest game, especially it's a game that's going to keep getting some support. Meowscrata specifically over any other Pokemon because, well, number one, it's the grass starter. We have a water starter. We have a fire... then we have Pokemon trainers, so we got Fire, Water, Grass. We have a fully evolved Water in Greninja, fully evolved Fire in Incineroar. Now we get a fully evolved Grass. It also completes the Dark starter trio. We got Water Dark, Fire Dark, and now we get Grass Dark, which it's just kind of an extra thing I think is kind of really cool. I think the idea of Meowscrata being a stage magician could lead to some cool and interesting things in the moveset. Because I think Greninja was picked... I think partly because Sakurai was like, okay, this thing looks cool. But I was like, okay, it's a ninja. We can do shit with that. He picked Incineroar because, okay, this is a wrestler. We could do shit with that. I think you could probably do some fun things with a stage magician. Also, this is more just like a thing I think is cool. I don't know if it go into a reason it would be picked. But I like the vibe of that trio. Again, like I said, they're all grass starters. Excuse me, they're all dark starters. You usually get Fire, Water, Grass. But you also get a Fighter, Thief, Mage trio. You got the Fighter and Incineroar as the wrestler. You got the Thief and the Ninja. And you have the Mage and the Stage Magician. Like that. That's so cool. I love how that works. I just think it'd be really cool. I think it'd be neat. And then there was the starter I picked. I named mine Midoriya. I like it quite a bit. I would say... sorry, I thought I was about to sneeze. I might still be about to sneeze. I'm not sure. It is my favorite of the 3 starters. If they didn't pick a starter, Koraidon, I think, would be a better playable character than Miraidon. Just because of, like, the way it stands and it is actually a fighting type. It can maybe work a little better. I know people... I actually don't know which one is preferred between Miraidon and Koraidon. Because I think Violet sold a lot better, but I feel like the general vibe is that everyone loves Koraidon. Excuse me, I could be wrong. I don't think they'd pick a random Pokemon like Annihilate, but I wouldn't be mad if they picked Annihilate. Because I think everything has essentially been a starter, or like a Pokemon that is like deliberately made to be iconic. Like Pikachu. Jigglypuff got a lot of push for a long time. Lucario, I think, was the first Gen 4 Pokemon revealed. Pichu, it's the baby Pikachu. It's the part of the mascot. What was the first Pokemon revealed for Violet? I think it probably was just the starters, and I feel like the starters are something that are generally really iconic. You're probably... and then Mewtwo, you know, also super fucking iconic Pokemon. I mean, if you could add any Pokemon into Smash, which I guess is probably maybe what I should be doing if I want to make the list truly for me, I would pick Victini. It's one of my... Eevee is my favorite Pokemon of all time, but Victini is probably my favorite legendary. But I'll say, if you're going to add a Pokemon, you probably add this one. And again, I do like Meowscarada, and I think it does kind of fit into Smash for other reasons. So I think I'll lock that one as my pick. Moving on to third party. So I had to pick a 5. Who are the 5 third-party characters I would want? And again, not trying to please... I'm sorry, I was checking something real quick. Not trying to please everybody. Not trying to be like, look, like, Smash is a... At this point, it's not just about Nintendo. It's not just Nintendo and its friends. It's kind of a celebration of gaming. We need a horror game in here, so let's get Leon from Resident Evil. We need an FPS. Let's get Master Chief or Doom Guy, or fuck, maybe even like the Heavy or something. I didn't go for that. Not that I have beef with those games. Like, I'm looking forward to Resi 4, and I haven't really played Doom, but I have a lot of respect for Doom. Kind of the same with Halo. I played Halo 2 years ago. I do have a lot of respect for Halo. At least, like, old Halo, because I understand new Halo's kind of ass, but I really wouldn't know. So if they gave a spot to Doom Guy, to Master Chief, to Leon over one of my 5, and be like, yeah, I'm like, no, that makes sense. That's a cool pick. That's a hype pick. Like, I don't even have Crash on here, but I'd be really happy to see Crash Paducah. My 5, personally, number 1, this is the one I will say, like, this, they're not necessarily in order except for number 1. It's Estelle Bright. I've talked about how Sky SC is my favorite game. Like, how much I loved the story so much. I would love to have Trails music in Smash. Like, I could imagine some really good remixes. And then I don't think there's a character in Smash who uses a bow staff. Like, it would be kind of a unique weapon. You can have an easy recovery for just spinning it above her head. And yeah, sure, you could say, like, you know, Bandana Waddle Dee would have a spear. This would be a bow staff. They're very different weapons, but I mean, one's a big stick with a pointy thing at the end. I would take Estelle over Bandana D, but that's me personally. I love them both. It was something that would make me really fucking happy. Another one, I just got done with my Symphonia video. I literally was like, this is why Lloyd would be perfect in Smash. It's how his game plays. I would love Lloyd. It's so easy to make a moveset for him. Like, it's just basically built into Symphonia itself. I think he would be really fast here. His combos would be insane. I think Lloyd would be I think Estelle would be a character who could, dude, like, she could play pretty well. I don't think she would necessarily be, like, busted unless they tried to make her busted. Lloyd as a character, like, he would probably be busted. He'd be so fucking fast. He could rack up insane damage, just combo you for hours. Probably not the way that Kazuya can, but not too different. Like, I think Lloyd would end up being really stupid. I have Monokuma on here. I love me some Danganronpa. I think Monokuma could have a really interesting moveset. Like, if he's just using stuff from different executions, I can't really go into specifics because I don't want to spoil Danganronpa and be like, oh yeah, like, what uses this from this execution? Be like, oh, okay, well, I can kind of tell what that talent's based off, so I guess that character probably dies. But just... Okay, so I mean, first off, he's a bear, so, you know, he's got his big fangs, his big old claws. And, you know, him being a very cartoony character, I feel like he would have something where, like, his proportions get kind of weird when he's, like, charging up smash attacks and whatnot, which I think could make it kind of fun and funny. But I do think, yeah, when you look at just the executions, there's a lot of moveset potential in there. Again, I don't really want to go into spoilers, but yeah, I could easily see some smash attacks. I could easily see a recovery for, like, the first execution in the series. Ah, man, there's some good ones. Also, I have Reimu from Toho. I kind of put right next to her, like, maybe they could also put in Marissa. Did I put Maria? I did put Maria. I forgot about the S, but, like, you could use Marissa as maybe, like, an Echo Fighter. Part of the reason is I like zoning. I love playing Robin. I love playing Zelda. I love playing Min Min. I'm awful. I love zoning. Give me a projectile character. Also, the way Toho worked, which is constantly about, like, dodging projectiles, avoiding shit. I imagine Reimu would be a character who's kind of made of glass, you know, very fast, very lightweight, but is really agile. And maybe you could do a weird mechanic where, like how Toho has the Graze mechanic, where, like, your score gets better if you get really close to a projectile without touching it. Where, like, the closer she gets to something, like if you're fighting a projectile character, if you're able to, like, barely dodge something, which I don't know how super that would work, maybe she just gets a little stronger. It's kind of a little jank. I remember seeing a meme, and it's just, like, a gif of Reimu just, like, dodging shit, and the thing says, it's like, yeah, you know, it's just like Sakurai explaining how she works in Smash. It's like, yeah, Toho is all about dodging projectiles, so to, you know, do a faithful adaptation, she just dodges every projectile thrown at her, which would be fucking insane. The main reason I want Reimu, though, is specifically for Toho music in Smash, because there's a lot of really, really good songs, and, like, you could have a lot of fun with remixes. It's definitely one where I'm more excited for the music than the character, but I would also be really excited for the character. And the last thing I have on here is a Skullgirls character. I tried really getting into fighting games last year, and I noticed I was getting a lot better, but I ended up kind of falling off, unfortunately. I do want to get back onto that. The game I had the most fun with was easily Skullgirls, and that was the game that kind of made me go, I want to get into fighting games. The character specifically that got me interested in Skullgirls, and is the one I have, like, on my list, and I have a couple others that I could argue for as well, but to me it's Peacock. Seeing this weird cartoon character with these giant ass arms, like, with a cigar, just pointing at a gun or pointing at a cannon, yelling, yo ho ho, made me go, okay, like, if I'm going to get into fighting games, I want to get into this one. I want to know how this character works. I want to know what world this character can exist in, because this is just a Looney Tunes character in a fighting game. What is this? And yeah, I had a lot of fun, although I will say, as much fun as I was having with Peacock, I was getting way more into playing Umbrella. I was just like, wait, I'm kind of figuring out, like, how her moves, like, chain into each other really well. Oh, this is really fun. But in terms of Smash, Peacock would be my pick. She is even though she's not my main, she is my favorite character from the game. Like I said, she's what got me into the game. I think her design and being, like, this super cartoony character would just kind of look and feel really, like, it fits really well into Smash. I think her moveset, again, of doing all this really cartoony shit and, like, bringing out cannons, dropping items on people, pulling out, like, a giant knife, like, making holes, like, pulling out her eye, and which is, like, this big black dot, which, for lore reasons, is really fucked up. But, and then, like, using that as, like, a hole to teleport through, like, if you could get that character to work in an arena fighter, this character would be insanely fun, and I think would fit so well. And there's the fact that while there is no main character in Skullgirls, I feel like Peacock is someone who's consistently important in almost every single narrative. There's a few that are like that too, like we definitely get that with shit like Annie and, you know, Marie herself. But I think she can fit from a narrative perspective, like, this is one of the main characters of the game. She really fits into Smash's aesthetic, and I just think she's neat. If any Skullgirls character were to get in, I think the best representation of the game, though, on the one hand, I could almost say Marie, like she is the Skullgirl herself. She is the final boss. So yeah, you kind of get like, hey, we actually get a villain character and it's like the title character of the game. That's really cool. She's about to become playable in the game herself. She may have already gotten added. I don't think so, because like they just added Dahlia, which I still haven't really tried her out. So I'm curious to know how Marie is going to play. Is it really going to be like you're playing Boss Marie, or it's like Marie is playable, but she's going to be very different, very toned down. So, you know, you can actually play her in the fighting game and have it be kind of fair. Anyway, so maybe be something more based on that. I could see them maybe going for that. I think, though, the best representation of Skullgirls would be Double. You know, again, you get like a villain character, because Double really is the main antagonist of the game. I mean, there's kind of this other shadowy shit going on in the background with like these god characters, but the full super story mode hasn't been released yet. And when it does, I'm actually really excited to play it. And like really, because I think the story of Skullgirls is like really fucking cool. But Double is consistently the main antagonist in almost everyone's story. And given that her whole thing is like she transforms into other characters to do moves, and she kind of has a little bit of everyone's moveset in her own. Or I think some of them are almost kind of like scrapped parts of people's movesets. Like one of her specials is like the Peacock car, which is no longer part of Peacock's moveset. I think it was part of like in the beta. I think that would actually be really interesting. And again, like that's a cool way to represent Skullgirls. So if they went for Double, if they went for me, I wouldn't be upset. I mean, if they went for Philia, I wouldn't be upset, but I'd be like, I get it. She's the like face of the game. She's the main character, but come on, you could give me Peacock, please. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, this is not based on any concrete knowledge of, guys, we are getting a deluxe edition. The deluxe edition's coming with new characters. Holy shit. It's just more of a, yeah, my buddy and I were talking about it. Like, what if it happened? And so I thought, yeah, if it happens, this is some of the shit I'd like to see. Do I expect it? Yeah, like I said, I do kind of expect when we get the official new Switch, there will be a deluxe edition. I think it'll have some extra goodies. I don't know how many it would have. If I was a genuine betting man, I would say a new Pokemon, a new Xeno rep, probably a Leer from Fire Emblem, and they'd probably do some weird shit where it's like, okay, I feel like she'd play a lot like Shulk, and how Shulk has his Monado arts, and like, all right, you have to always have one equipped to be able to do shit, but, you know, this one does this one does this. I think a Leer would do the same thing, but she just engages with emblems. Excuse me. Maybe it works more like a meter, where maybe, I don't know if it'd be like quite like the KO punch, or kind of like Joker and Arsene, where once you get it to a certain point, she engages, and then, okay, now she gets to do crazy shit for a while. I don't know, but I could see them adding something like that. Maybe another Zelda character, maybe another Kirby character like I'd like. In terms of third party, I would say what I would expect, if anything, is probably a first-person character like Chief or Doom. They already added a few Squeenix characters. Maybe they get another one. I don't know. Like, not doing Final Fantasy as a whole. They're just kind of doing 7, so I guess maybe Tifa. I'd be happy with Tifa. I like Tifa. I would love to see Tifa in Tekken. I think that actually would fit super well. I'd be kind of down for that. I don't think they would actually add someone from Skullgirl. I don't know if it would happen. I would clearly love it. But, like I said, this is just for fun. And if it happens, great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I still really like Ultimate as it is.